we could all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome you all to the Board of Trustees public session, August 10th. We have the Employee of the Month, and it's with great gratitude that I say that Julie Fitzgerald, sitting before us, is that employee. And I will first I'll read what Linda Gusford said about her. Julie works very hard between Village Hall and the center. She's a talented and creative individual. She works many evenings after everyone has gone home. She is a fun person to work with. And I'm going to rip up that script because I'm going to tell you that myself, I am totally disorganized. I can barely figure out where I'm supposed to be next. My only asset is I usually can get things done. And Julie has been a tremendous asset to me. She set me up with a calendar. She tells me where to go. She tells me who to talk to. She even reminds me of people's names, which I can never remember either. And she is an incredible person, an incredible energetic person to work with, running between the Southampton Arts Center and then Village Hall. And, you know, there's a couple of evenings I'll be here, everybody leaves, and then I leave sort of guiltily, wandering down the hall, and Julie's still in her office, and I go, "Are you okay in here?" She goes, yeah. I get home, and the emails start. And I get an email at 5 o'clock. I get an email at 6 o'clock. I get an email at 7, at 8, and she just is absolutely a tireless individual. And Julie, you know, it's a great pleasure to present you with this. I don't want to make sure. Even with a broken wrist, you can't slow her up. The next thing we move on to is public comment. We have some people signed up. Evelyn Conrad.
Evelyn Conrad, 18 South Roscoe Drive, Southampton. Good evening, Mayor Mike, members of the Board of Trustees. I'd like to tell a little anecdote of a time when our new mayor had an absolute moment of moral outrage, and that is something you need very much in your present job. It was at the planning board meeting when you were in the middle of a meeting, rather toward the end, and planning to vote on, I think it was the Robinson subdivisions, when Albert W. Robinson, your attorney for the planning board, came around and passed out his written decision on that particular case. I don't know whether it was 2, 3, or 4 pages, but you got up and said, "We've got to have a chance to read this." I think that's a very reasonable request. There was a 15-minute break, and I guess you all read it. But this brings me to the very subject I want to bring up tonight, because I'm hoping you will pass a resolution. I had the gall to write one out for you. You're all perfectly capable, especially with a new lawyer, to write your own resolution, but at least you know what I'll be talking about. By the time we see these written decisions, and you guys have voted, the only way for us as citizens of this, and residents and property owners, to talk about any mistakes in it or anything we object to, and believe me, there are plenty of mistakes in those written decisions for the ARB and the planning board, probably for the CBA too. By that time, the only way we can protest is to go to court. That is not a very good way to do it. And so I'm here to ask you to please pass a resolution that these written decisions be made available publicly, as all other documents for a particular case are, in the building department, and with at least 10 days before the vote is to be taken. And of course, everybody should have the right to either read, copy them, or pay the 25 cents a page to the building department for getting a reproduction. And that way, we can avoid not only the need to go to court, which is not necessarily very effective on the East End, but above all, we can voice our objection to the many misstatements of law and fact that do happen to creep in. I'm so thrilled to see a new village lawyer. Perhaps he will keep a tighter rein on some of those decisions that I'm talking about. So would you consider that, please? It's very important, because right now, these boards are voting in secret, in effect. We don't know what you're basing your vote on, and that we have a right to know. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Next is Fran.
Good evening. My name is Francis Adamczewski, 40 West Prospect Street. First of all, thank you, Mr. Hattrick. I missed the last meeting. I had some issues that I couldn't attend, had a passing of a friend, so I couldn't make the last meeting, but I watched online and viewed your comments about the roads, and I'm happy that you were fighting for us for access on these roads and making parking areas, making other parking areas for people to access the beaches and our bays. Road A has been phenomenal. People have been parking there. People with their kids and families have been parking there. I spoke to the people that were there that Sunday when, unfortunately, a couple of the tires were punctured. No one really got stuck at the beach. People had cars, and never got stuck there. They said they had no problem. Nobody was in the way. Everybody parked fine. That's what they said to me. They said the only problems was when they came back, 4 of the cars had their tires punctured.
Wow.
And one gentleman was wondering why he didn't have his tires punctured, because he had his father's car and he had, I guess, a veteran sticker on the window. So he's wondering if maybe whoever did this felt a little heartfelt that there was a veteran on the beach. But maybe he should have thought veterans or the children, their families using the beach. We need more access. I don't know why there's no parking on Dune Road. I think that's the only road in Southampton that has no parking on both sides of the road. I might be wrong, but we need access to both the bays and the ocean. Mike, your comment last week on that, I was watching online, saying that maybe there's oil dripping from vehicles. I think a lot of the vehicles that are parked on these roads are brand new. You can go down and see that they are brand new. There's more chemicals going into the water from the homeowners that live on this road. On the bay side, there's people that actually filled in marsh area to build their house. I mean, I don't even know how they get away with having a septic tank there, because the water level is so high. When the mean high tide water comes up, I don't know how it doesn't flood into their basements or their sewage systems and back up their toilets and whatever else they have there to, maybe they have sealed tanks, I have no idea. But if you look at a lot of these homes, there's lawns. Lawns don't belong on the beach. It's not natural. You were saying about natural vegetation. There's no, lawns is not natural on a dune. And I just want you to consider that you're not hurting the trustees or the town supervisor. You're hurting the people, the town, the community, the people that live here all year round. So please take in consideration to give us, let us have this access to our beaches and our bays. Thank you.
Look at this when you get back. And it's,
I've seen this, Mr. Kosciuszko's going to...
well, I gave you, this is a better copy than I think the one he saw, because it does show.
It does show that they do use, I've actually taken pictures recently of the owner to the east with their landscapers parked on Road A with their lawnmowers and trailers. If you want, I could submit that to the village if you want tomorrow. I could make a copy of it and give it to you if you need be. I mean, there's...
I don't know if you're going to stick around tonight, but I was going to
Yes,
ask the attorney and
I am going to stick.
the village administrator. I measured the cleared part of Road A, and it's 19 feet wide. Now, it's my understanding that Road A is 50 feet wide.
Correct.
And you'll notice on this, there's a house on the east side of the lane that's fairly close, but there's nothing close on the west side. And it just would seem to me if there was if we're going to allow cars to park there, which I personally think we absolutely should, even if they don't need stickers, they're people, and to possibly widen it a little on the west side so that there's never a problem with having two lanes of parked cars and you can still get in and out.
It actually was wider. The homeowners to the east planted vegetation along their property line. Well,
they planted it on somebody else's property.
on the road. They planted it on the road. And if you go down there and look the state for the marking out the roads, their fence is actually on the road. So they encroached on the road. So there's a fence that goes down on the road that is encroaching on the road. And then they planted pine trees and some other mulberries or something like that on that road along their property to try to screen out more or block off more access to the road. And the road was hard as a rock, actually, because I went down there when the village workers were down there and they were going to look to scrape off some of the top layers of rubble that was there, and there was about maybe 1.5 feet of bricks and hard packed dirt. I mean, it was solid as a rock. I mean, you could ride, any kind of car could have turned around on it with no problem. I went down there after you said people got stuck. I didn't see any remnants of people spinning tires with holes in the road or anything like that. And I spoke to pretty much everyone that was there that day. And the only problem was the tire punctures.
Yeah, the only stuck spot, Fran, was when somebody tried to breach the dune up ahead, which your photo there doesn't show. Mr. Hattrick's photo doesn't show.
Maybe we've got to put a few posts so that somebody doesn't try and drive a vehicle up on the beach. That we're not in favor of. But
I understand that. But
interesting, too, those two trucks that this photograph caught, these two good-sized trucks that are on the, by T-Bone Landing there on the north side of the road, and there's a space there that I swear will hold somewhere between 8 and 10 vehicles, and I know there's, concerns about the wetlands and so on, but this photograph would seem to indicate that the wetlands are a hell of a lot further away on this property than they are on Dune Beach, where we have parking on the west side of the road.
correct.
There's enough room right there, and it's hard-packed stuff. We don't have to do anything. I think, personally, I think we ought to consider putting sticker parking signs up there for that. There's a stretch there that will hold about something close to 10 vehicles.
Appreciate that. Okay, thank you.
Next is David.
Good evening. David Yorio, 76 Winding Way. I'm a board member of SABA. John is here tonight. John's the president of SABA, the Southampton Association for Beach Access. Just another voice who wants to support the opening of these roads for beach access, the parking of vehicles on Road A. Mr. Hattrick, it sounds like from last meeting and from what you've said already tonight that you plan on supporting that, so we'll listen to what you have to say tonight. But again, we need a plan. We've been talking about this 15, 16 months. We're waiting to hear what the decision on the lawsuit from the 31st will be, and really hope that plan can come together for another 15 months past. Thank you.
And we got John.
How you doing? John Kosciuszko, 7 Doas Path. I concur to what both of these gentlemen said also. I didn't get to come to the meeting last time, but I did get to see the video, and I would like to see some progression moving forward with what Mr. Hatchick brought forward. I think there's plenty of room, judging from the photos that you have, to accommodate additional parking spots so people can have access to the beaches. I think both of the other gentlemen said the same thing that I'm going to currently say. There's a lot of this type of parking all over the road, and they're working on these estates, and we just want to go to the beach to enjoy ourselves. And if we can't park on the side of the road, where can we park? We need to come up with a plan. I think we collectively could come together as a group and work with this board here so we can have some spots, because Cooper's is overrun, the picnic area is overrun, and there's not much parking down there. So I think collectively, if this board moves forward as a group, we can all do it together. Another side note I'd like to bring to attention is at the access at the bathing corporation. I'm going to give you these photos also. The encroachment of this fence over the years just seems to keep going further east to east. And it is on village property. And I think maybe someone should step forward on this board to notify the bathing corporation of this so we can have access, to go to the beach. And also yesterday at the beach, the fence goes down to the water, and no vehicles, no dogs, but we have an ATV on the beach every day cleaning the beach. It's raking the sand. Who's at fault here, and who's watching the hen house? And on a later note, I think having porta potties at the beach are beautiful. I think it's great so people can use them. But if we could disguise them a little bit with a stockade fence at Crider Lane or the Bathing Corp, just to make our village a little bit more lovely, which I think you do a great job of it, I think we could do that also. But if we can all work together to find more parking so that people can enjoy the beach, I think it would be a great thing. Thank you.
I just ask one thing, Steve, the workers what are they issued, like temporary permits, like for events, or how,
Well, I don't know whose vehicle is raking. Is that one of ours?
I'm talking about
Bathing Corporation.
the vehicles that are parked, you showed on the side of the road, the work
Yeah,
site.
Talking about the
On the
vehicles.
middle, yeah, they get parking permits, commercial
So for
parking.
how long? As long as the project lasts? I mean, how does
Issue at a 30-day.
30 day? Okay, so,
I went down this morning, there was 12 vehicles on Meadow Lane. 2 of the vehicles, it was 14, 12 of them didn't have stickers. 2 of them, Don Mahoney is the only one that had stickers. I think he's the only landscaper
It's
that's
a continuing
legitimate
problem.
that doesn't.
Yeah, we send
I
ordinance
think
down there all the
enforcement,
time.
and the crux of the whole matter also is, the brand-new towing sign was put on Meadow Lane. Has one vehicle been towed yet? I mean, you could have towed 14 or 15 of them today.
thanks, Joe.
Moving ahead, but first let me make one,
I forgot to sign up, may I speak?
yeah, absolutely, please.
I'm
State
Judy
your
Johnson,
name.
and I live at 239 Little Plains Road. And I just came back from looking at the helicopter pad and the beach, which is exactly 6 miles from where I'm standing. And of course, I'm probably the oldest member of SABA, but I am very concerned about beach access. For our community, for our citizens. I realize that there aren't too many places where they can get onto the beach with vehicles. But I certainly hope that, as in the past, this board will deliberate and not only preserve the access that these young men are talking about, but also try to find more accesses which would basically diffuse the problem, and there won't be so many cars in one place. The other thing I want to mention tonight is Steve Kunch has been very helpful to me on this senior committee. We're always looking for members, and we have a lot of trouble getting volunteers. So if you ever know anybody who wants to volunteer, just let me or Julie maybe know. We've had a traditional Christmas party at the museum. You were there last Christmas, Nancy. And it was very difficult to get people from the home care center, which is in our village, into that building. We could only have like 4 or 5 people from there. So this spring, and it was to be in April, but because they changed the format up there and put in the dialysis center, they couldn't have us till June. But we had a tea, and 24 of the patients in wheelchairs came to that, and I'm particularly grateful to Cheryl Adams and Peggy Stringham and the wonderful staff at the museum and Georgia Chapek, who helped pull that off. This year, we are going to have 2 holiday events. One at the museum for village residents' preference, and another up at the care center, so more people will be able to attend. And we give little favors, and we have Santa Claus come, and so it's a very nice event. The other things I want to mention today is, first of all, welcome Mr. Mayor, and welcome Trustee Allen, and welcome back Trustees Yastrzemski, McGann, and Hattrick. You've been on here a long time. And I have to say that during your tenure, I've noticed we have porta potties at the beaches now, we have benches, we have a lot of things we didn't used to have. And that has made access much easier for a lot of people. At Little Plains Beach, you very often see someone on a walker being brought down and helped to sit on those benches, and they otherwise wouldn't be able to make it there. 2 other things I have to ask about. The roads in this village are in very good shape. The green and white signs that you put up, the new street signs, they're very attractive. I think Hillcrest needs a little attention on the paving department, but I'm sure you're taking care of that. And last Monday, I was sitting in my yard quietly reading, and a lovely elderly beagle came flying through 3 times during the afternoon. It belonged to my neighbor, and she came and got it. But I am concerned about our leash laws because a pit bull has apparently attacked 2 pets and killed them this past couple of weeks. And it's a police matter. But I wonder, do we have our own dog catcher?
The town had one in
Use the town.
the town.
Well, I do think people should be advised. I go to Little Plains Beach and other beaches, and a lot of dogs are on the loose. And I don't mind that. But if there are pit bulls or dogs that aren't safe, I want them on a lead. I don't want to be approached by a big dog that could be vicious. And the fact that there's been an incident is the reason I'm bringing it up. So thank you all very much for listening.
I had that same beagle in my yard, by the way.
You must live near me.
I do.
Well, he's very friendly. His name is
Yes.
Baz.
Absolutely, Mr. Cruden, come up, please.
Yeah, it's been a little lax on the leash. There's a lot of people just moving their dogs around everywhere.
Hi, Regina Grieven, 375 Ox Pasture Road. Congratulations to the board, to the mayor. We're delighted you're all here. Thank you. And to the new attorney as well. The reason why I didn't sign up is because it was just brought to my attention about the house that is on the left of Road A, which seems to be encroaching on the public road, correct? Now, does the village have a survey, precise survey of just how much that man or whatever is encroaching with his plants and his fence and whatever? And shouldn't he be asked to move it back so that there's more room even on the Road A? Is that, do you have a...
All those road access points, A, B, and on down to
Yeah.
Park have been surveyed and marked, and there was an encroachment on one of the last ones, and we got them to move they had put up a retaining wall, and they moved their retaining wall, moved their encroachment away. So all those access points have...
But nobody is really encroaching on the village road at the moment. So that's been taken care of, because I misunderstood then. I thought there was one person who
I
was
think
still...
I think you understood, because Bill said he went down and measured, it was 19 feet wide.
Right.
When the map shows it as 50 feet. So if
The
it's
property is 50 feet.
Right.
The road is only 19 feet.
I see,
Yeah,
okay.
so obviously, there's 30
Some
feet
approach,
there that
clearly.
that is either on the property to the east or on the property to the west. That's what we need. We can't just take over the property to the
Right.
west.
So you have to find out exactly what the story is.
We have to
Okay.
see where the markers are.
Okay, because I think that would greatly help the
Nobody's
parking.
taking the property, it's just that hasn't been
Right,
opened up all the way.
right. Okay.
That's a map of Road A, and you can see the house and so on, and exactly where it's placed that you're talking about. And
Okay, can I keep this?
Yes.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Anybody else from the public has a comment? I'd just like to make one quick comment to Saba. I think that you've got to take a close look at this entire board, because there is nobody that is fighting for you guys more and your beach access and your access to the picnic area than this board here. Because certainly the town trustees have walked away from it. And, opening up additional areas, we need to take a look at that, but you need to go to your town trustees and push them to open up other areas. Because this village board is the only thing that's standing between you and losing your beach access rights.
Can I say something too, Michael? Just, Wayne, I don't know if it's you and Steve, but I was going to ask you later in the meeting, and I don't want them to have to stick around to hear this. I wish we could get surveys of the Road A property in sort of in this form, maybe superimposed on a map like this, so you can see exactly what is ours and what isn't, and maybe even a further away party, so you get, or a picture rather, so you get up and can see the beach and so on, and find out what, if any, restrictions the town has on it. I know that anybody who parks there does not have to have a village beach sticker, I believe. At least I've been told that. But I wish you could find out all the legal details, particularly of Road A, because it's been cleared, and you might as well do them all while you're at it, so that we know exactly what powers we have. And I did also hear something encouraging. Gary, was it you that told me that you heard that the town trustees have finally picked a beach buggy area for the Hampton Bays side of the inlet? Somebody that looks like you. Okay.
I spoke to them many times, but
I was just told this in the last couple of days.
You're probably having a very lovely dream.
I'm too old for lovely dreams.
No, they do have a spot they would like to use, but it hasn't been completed.
Honestly, somebody told me that. I mean, we were led to believe months ago that they were going to have an area.
Well, there's an area that they have been working on down by Hot Dog Beach that they own, but they have some issues and they haven't been able to.
Somebody told me that they're finally coming through west of the.
Now, they have the same issues of the people that live there as well. Not everybody is for beach access, so that is, as the mayor said, a stretch that they would like to open for it, but they have their own opposition from that side as well.
It sounded like it was a vacant parcel.
Well, that's the Hot Dog Beach, that's the Hot Dog Beach.
Anyhow, listen, we'll see if it materializes, but just getting back to this, Wayne, if we could get something so we know exactly what powers we have, where they are, and, I'd love to see, for instance, the point was being made that this house looks awfully close, and maybe it is or isn't imposing on our property. But it seemed to me that if it's 19 feet wide now, and we have 50 feet, and we can widen it another 8 feet or whatever on the west side, where nowhere's near the property owner, and the west side house is much closer to the beach, and so we're not even affecting him in any way. But do we have any room there, and what kind of setbacks does the village require? How close to the edge of your property or our property can we go with a parking area? But I'd just love to see, and I thought it was great that this picture picked up. I think there are 7 vehicles in there, and they're spaced out to some degree, and then those 2 trucks that are on the other area that I really think it's just sitting there begging. And I would leave the map that Steve made me a better map of the Halsey Neck Lane area, and just where, Gary, where you completed the new bridge there. South of that, there's property, and I think you told me that some of it's nature preserve and all this sort of thing, but I would love to get a survey that shows 100 yards of that intersection in all directions. How much of that land is ours, and could we add additional parking if we were so disposed? And I was just told that this Sunday, even after the rainfall that we had in the morning, that Cooper's Beach, they had to close access to it. They did not have enough space for another car, and that was a kind of certainly an ordinary day at the start. It did turn nice in the afternoon, but we really owe it to people to find every parking place we can, and that Halsey Neck is not a house within, hundreds of yards of that intersection, and so if you could find out what is
Are you
our...
walking to the east or the west? The land on the east or the west?
On the east side of that intersection, there's a very wide strip before you come to vegetation, but I was also told that the nature...
A lot of wetlands in there.
Wetlands, nature preserve, and all that sort of thing. And then, of course, if you look where the bridge, from the bridge south of the new bridge that was built here, there's a lot of room on either side. Do we own that? And we'll fight over whether or not cars leak oil another day, because I'm not a believer, but I'm also not stubborn. But I think we ought to try, maybe, Chief, you could instruct some of your officers this weekend to give us a read on, particularly if it's a nice day, which I think Saturday is going to be a lousy day, but on any nice day, just to get, is every parking beach full? And, if there's plenty of parking room, then you don't have to consider expanding it as
I'd like to know about Dune Beach. Now, Dune Beach is a little further to get to, but I think a lot of it's just a village resident beach, but I think a lot of village residents don't use it because we don't have a lifeguard there. And I think, they'll go to Little Plains, they'll go to Crider, they'll go to Old Town, they'll go to all of those because they're close, but I don't think they're driving down to Dune Beach because it's far and because there isn't a lifeguard there. So I'd like to know...
But there is a bathroom, and it doesn't need a fence around it.
Yeah, there is a bathroom.
It's a real...
Right. So I'd really like to know if that gets full. So that's another one. Because I've been down there and I've never seen it.
It'd be nice to know just how big is the problem, and of course this lawsuit, God knows if it goes against us, the problem's going to become a whole lot bigger.
Moving ahead, hold on a second, Fran.
Can I just say one thing, though?
Before you say anything, because I do throw out scripts, as I said, maybe, Gary, you could step up, introduce yourself, and tell Saba what we've been doing with those roads, because we have been doing a lot of surveying and clearing of them and making sure everybody does have access.
Yeah, Gary Gillespie, Superintendent of Public Works. Actually, for some time now, we've opened up tiny paths through those lands so you could get through. And in the last 2 years, the previous mayor and then Mayor Irving here has asked us to make at least a passage wide that a vehicle could get through there. Something 6 to 8 feet wide, but not to make it any wider to open the thing wide open as a parking lot or something, but allow us to have passage through. We do have a deed to that property that does say that the village and town residents have rights to travel to and from that beach. So basically in the last 2 years, we've gone from A to G, actually with the exception of Shinnecock Road, which Mayor Irving asked me today if we could open that one up as well. And we're going to look into that tomorrow. But we're going to maintain those things as roads. We can go to the foot of the dune and no further without a DEC permit. And that's about where our hands are tied right now.
So, but there's a little confusion here, and confusion for me in hearing all of this is that if there's no parking on Dune Road and we have a walking path, how does one accomplish that? Because you can't park on the side of the road to walk on the walking path.
There is parking there. You have Dune Beach, you have Road D, you have Meadow Lane, and if you're going to walk,
No, I know there's Road D and I know there's Dune Beach.
You might
Yeah.
have to walk a little distance, but that's why you're walking.
In the past, too, these roads, what you've seen, if you've seen four-wheel drive trucks, you'll see several parked in there. Road A, more so than any other. And that's kind of historically what I've seen. And that's how we try to maintain them.
Thank you. Now, Frank.
Brent Adamczewski again. I just want you to know that Greg will even back me up that I do go to the trustee meetings. and voice my opinion there too, so it's not just coming to you, believe me. So,
Fran makes his...
you know me for years,
You make your rounds, I know.
Yes, I do go to the town trustees and voice my opinion to tell them they need to open up more areas for, Hampton Bays people, the people that come in from Flanders and Hampton Bays, to open up another spot for them over there. So we have more access, at least give them someplace where they can go a little closer to home. That's why I'm all for people to access our beaches, our town residents, because, somebody could live right on the other side of the railroad tracks, just out of the village, and will have to drive to Flying Point or go to Hampton Bays to go to Town Beach. So opening these roads and giving them access to these roads, since I believe the trustee that lived on the corner of Halsey Neck there, that changed beach permits to parking, the village parking, because village parking, Little Plains, Old Town, Halsey Neck, first come, first serve. And then all of a sudden, all the surfers moved to Halsey Neck one day, and because his break was there. And he used to go down there for his swim, and came down after his work and couldn't get a parking spot there, and was pissed. So he, it's, what's his name that lives on the corner? Do you remember his name? The guy on Halsey Neck was a trustee. McLaughlin. He was the one.
Joe McLaughlin? Oh, he lives on Hill Street.
Hill Street, right on the corner of Hill Street and Halsey Neck.
I'm picturing that you're saying he lived up by the ocean.
Yeah.
No, lived right on Hill Street and Halsey Neck, right there on the corner. And he used to go to Halsey Neck Beach for a swim. And all of a sudden, the surf break kind of moved to Halsey Neck, and that's when they were trying to shut down surfing in the village, because all of a sudden he couldn't get a spot to go for a swim or a walk on the beach or whatever he did after that. And all of a sudden, all these parking lots became village permits. They were all once a free-for-all, first come, first serve, which, I don't know, but I don't know how many, because last year I went to all these beaches, and like Little Plains was empty, Old Town's empty, Wine Dance, Cry to Lane.
On the weekends, they were empty?
On the weekends, they were empty.
In January.
Empty, not in January. In the summer, they were actually in the summertime, on the weekends.
Old Town can be pretty sparse.
So, now it's, more people are spending money to buy village stickers now, park there, but, maybe there's something to look into too. Maybe making if there's nobody really parking there on the weekends, maybe make a few spots for town residents. If they have a town permit, let them give them 20 spots in the parking lots at Little Plains and Old Town and Wine Dance. Give them a couple spots. Because I think that's why a lot of people are going to the picnic area, because they can't afford a $300 village sticker to go for 2 months to the beach, you see.
I thought they were going to the picnic area because they like driving on the beach.
Well, that, and a lot of people say we can't, we don't want to spend $300 on a sticker for 2 months to go to the beach. And then after 2 months, it's a free-for-all. You can drive, if you got a four-wheel drive, you can drive up and down from, Bridgehampton to Shinnecock and West Hampton. So it's just like 2 months that are really, and then on just Sundays at the picnic area is the crowded day. I was there the other day surfing with my friends over there, and there was probably, 15 trucks maybe? 15 vehicles maybe, at the most. It was
Where?
awesome.
At the picnic?
At the picnic area.
Really?
Yep, it was awesome.
That's good.
It was good. So, thank you, and I do go to the trustees and I voice my opinions, not just here, okay?
Tell them you're going to form a political action committee if we don't get more beach access.
We already have, we're already in the process of doing that.
Trump on them,
Funny you mention it.
Thank you for listening, thank you for caring, thank you.
Thank you, Fran.
Anybody else in the public with a comment? Being that there are no others, we move ahead. We did have a board presentation scheduled for tonight. Dr. Chris Gobler on Lake Agawam, but unfortunately, I guess he was called away or had a change in the schedule, and we'll have to postpone that. But he has spent a lot of time researching Agawam and looking at both the surface, groundwater, and the septic issues that we're experiencing down there. Public hearings are none. Communications to the board.
All right, first one's from the Robin Hood Foundation. I'm writing to ask for permission for Robin Hood donors to hold lemonade stands in support of Robin Hood over the Labor Day weekend in the town of Southampton. Details are as follows. Lemonade to take place on Saturday, September 2nd, Sunday, September 3rd, and Monday, September 4th. Families will choose only one date. Time for the event will be restricted from 10:30 to 4. Participating families will design homemade lemonade stands. Locations where activity takes place will be restricted to the village area or private residences. Public locations have given permission include Juice Press at 93 Main Street. Participants will seek the permission of any business or property owner if desiring space in the village area. Written permission from each business owner will be provided prior to the event. Lemonade stands will be clearly marked by Robin Hood signage. In exchange for goods at stands, lemonade, cookies, or any edible treat, participants will accept donations on behalf of Robin Hood. Lemonade will not be sold. Robin Hood currently funds several programs in the Long Island area, including Island Harvest, Interfaith Nutrition Network, and Feeding America, among many others. Donated proceeds will be used to continue funding schools, food pantries, homeless shelters, job training programs, and other vital services in Long Island and New York City. The Village of Southampton has been a tremendous ally in our fight against poverty. Please know how deeply we appreciate the continued support, and thank you for your consideration.
I think we've done this every year, haven't we? Any comments from board members or any questions?
Looks like a good year to do it again.
Agree.
So I will make a motion to have Robin Hood Foundation make their Lemonade Day, Labor Day weekend.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next one's from Southampton Hospital, 24/7 emergency care. For the past 13 years, the emergency department is holding a post-Labor Day gathering for their employees and family at Cooper's Beach. We would like to do this again on Wednesday, September 13th, 2017. It is a dinner from 6 to 10 p.m., attended by approximately 70 people. The event will be catered by Catinas. We'll be providing insurance certificates to indemnify Southampton Village of any responsibilities. In the past, we have paid a village employee to come after the party to clean the bathrooms. We'll be happy to do that again. Honored to have you as our guest. Darren Wignan is chairman.
What day is the 13th?
It's a Wednesday.
Oh, that's right, that's a Wednesday.
And we have no concerts or anything.
Nope.
And again, they obviously have done this every year.
Other thing we do annually, yeah.
I thought, have they done this?
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
every
they
year.
have?
I'd say 13 years. 13's their lucky number.
You hope it's their lucky number.
13 years on the 13th, right?
Any questions or comments from board members?
No.
It's one of the annual things.
And then again,
No bonfires or anything?
No. No, it's up on the deck.
Oh, okay, that's,
I'll make a motion for accepting these 24/7 emergency care to use Cooper's Beach on September 13th, 2017, as they had requested.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
The resolutions, item 1, resolve that the reading of the minutes for the public session on July 13, 2017 be dispensed with, and those minutes be accepted as filed by the village administrator, and the actions taken at that meeting be and hereby are ratified and approved. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Stay. Wasn't here.
Resolve that the reading of the minutes of the work session of July 25th, 2017 be dispensed with, and those minutes be accepted as filed by the village administrator. The actions taken at that meeting be and hereby are ratified and approved. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 3, resolved that the claims for warrants dated August 10th, 2017, totaling $292,936.69, warrant 5 general fund, $1,961.85, warrant 3 trust fund expenses, and $214,335.32, warrant 3 capital reserve fund, and the village payrolls for the period from July 21st, 2017 to August 3rd be ordered and approved. Have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
It's okay.
Discussion. Page 1, Absolute Shine Auto Spa, ambulance detailing, $2,700. Page 2, All-American Awards, badges and collar brass for the Fire Department, 2007, $3620. All data, annual support for diagnostic service package for the garage, $1,500. Amshare Wholesale, ammo supplies, $10,997.84 for police. Gas production services for July, $2,809.50. CDW government computer equipment for PD, $2,976 and $4,612.62. Coastal Fire Systems exhaust fan for the fire department, $3,485. Cook Marion Insurance installment, $1,500. Page 4, Cronin PLC SCAR settlement, $8,347.89. Eastern Suffolk BOCES EAP support program for 2017, $4,547.50. EMT Government Accounting Services for July, $1,275. Farrell Fritz SCAR settlement, $1,093.40. Page 5, Firematic Supply hoses and nozzles for the fire department, $5,583.10. Firematic Supply fire truck repair, $1,108.50. First Presbyterian Church August lease payment, $3,000. Page 6, Glen Falls National Bank and Trust LoSAP contribution for the ambulance, $52,388. Global Montello Group, 3,000 gallons of diesel fuel, $4,843.20. Eric Hardware on page 7, going on to page 9, July supplies, $1,593.44. Page 10, Island Tech Services Network Service Agreement for the Fire Department, $20,711.40. James Lynch Irrigation, Job's Lane Irrigation around the trees, $12,440. Johnson Electrical Construction Corp. HVAC installing at 25 Windmill Lane, $4,033.01, and Johnson Electrical Construction Corp. Traffic Signal Maintenance for July, $1,350. Page 11, Laser Technology Equipment for PD, $1,395. Mulvisi Equipment, Mower Axle Repair, $3,306.05. Page 12, More Medical Supplies for the ambulance, $1,722.72 and $2,087.37. Morgan Auto Supply Parts for the garage, $2,021.96. Page 13, Nina Foundry, drain grates for the highway department, $1,471.15. Page 14, Norsec and Son carding for parks, $1,275. For the highway, $1,353 and $6,308. Page 15, Norsec again for the parks, $1,249.19, and for the beaches, $1,114.71. Office of the State Controller, June fines for the court, $14,009.50. Page 17, PSE&G for the fire department, $6,371.64, and for PD, $4,917.91. Ramada Lakefront lodging for a PD conference, $1,534. Rico's Clothing, uniforms for the fire department, $17,188.16. Ronco Cleaning Supplies for the building department, $3,087.48. Page 18, Software Consulting, maintenance agreement for the tax receiver software, $6,000. Page 19, Sprague Operating Reserve, 3,002 gallons of gasoline, $5,107.30. And Suffolk County Water Authority, annual hydrant fees, $2,258.01. Page 20, Anthony Toho, July legal fees, $1,250. Town of Southampton dumping fees, $1,060.60. Vehicle Tracking Solutions, GPS for July, $1,127.53. And Verizon phone bill, $3,705.26. Next warrant is your trust warrant. Payment to VHB Engineering, survey and plans for the Agawam O'Connell parking lot, $1,409. And the last warrant is a capital reserve warrant. Payments to Alliance System Integrators for the fire alarm camera systems for DPW East, $37,050.06. The Historical Museum, $32,835.19. 25 Jobs Lane, $56,357.13. And the west side of the DPW yard, $38,540.18. East End Blueprint, Reproduction of the ambulance plan is $1,200. JSJ Furniture, new chairs for the Southampton Arts Center, $41,221.84. Motorola Solutions, a radio for Fire Department, $2,621.01. And Rescue Tech One, an inflatable rescue boat for the Fire Department, $4,509.91. Discussion? All in favor? Item 4, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the attached schedule of budget transfers related to overages through August 10th, 2017. Have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion, item 1, $530 going to Justice Court equipment from Justice Court miscellaneous. Item 2, $40 into election contractuals, $40 coming out of clerk part-time, and $1,000 into celebrations out of contingency. All in favor? Item 5, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the hiring of Daniela Sesto as an intern for the Justice Court at an hourly rate of $12 for 12 hours per week through August 18, 2017. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Item 6, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following as new members of the Southampton Village Volunteer Ambulance Corps: Brooke Llewellyn, Stacy Corti, Carmen Friedman, Brian Carey, and Andrew Bendo. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The last item is resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following payments from the Capital Reserve Fund, subject to permissive referendum. Alliance System Integrators, $164,782.56 from the Facilities Reserve. Motorola Solutions, $2,621.01 from the Fire Reserve. $4,509 from the Fire Reserve to Rescue Tech One, Inc., and East End Blueprint, $1,200 from the Ambulance Bond Reserve. Have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We did have one discussion item on there, which I've taken off. We were going to talk about the Agawam drainage, but Gary would rather get a pricing on writing up those documents before we go further with that.
Good. Comments from board members? Trustee Scramsky.
Pardon my tardiness. I was just literally rolling in from Vermont with the family, so. But I was glad Saba showed up. I missed the last meeting, so I guess Bill had some nice comments about beach access that Saba seemed to find favorable. So that's good, and I know encouraging for those guys to hear words like that coming from us. And you hit it right on the head, Mayor, that once again, I think there's a lot of perception that this board is the one that's not, or doing the least when you compare the other boards, and we are in fact the one doing the most to ensure the privileges. So I'm glad you brought that up, and these, again, Saba, keep the pressure on, keep the battle going, because if you don't ask, you don't get.
So true, thank you. Trustee Allen.
Nothing for today, thank you.
Okay. Trustee McGann.
I just want to tell the public that we had a meeting today on the parks that we're looking to expand. The playground in the former Jane Dosha property, which backs up to the O'Connell parking lot. We had picked a lot of equipment for that, but we had not gotten a price on all of it. Those prices are coming in now, but before we can actually move forward with any of that, since both those properties were purchased with community preservation for parks, we have to go over to the Community Preservation Committee and the town board to make sure that they're happy with what we're doing there, and that's going to be our next step. And then we'll take it from there and look at what we're going to do. The Moses Lane property, we worked with Tim Rumpf from Aaron's, is that how you pronounce it? Aaron's. They're on Nugent Street, and they put together the playground, the addition to the playground. It butts up actually to the current playground in Agawam right now. The equipment is really terrific. And then we also looked at Moses to put 3 tennis courts there and some bocce ball courts. And so they had a design for that as well, and that will go over to the town as well. So I thought it was a great meeting this morning, and it's very exciting, and we're just going to keep moving forward. My goal is to have that playground installed in the spring so that the people in the community will be able to use it for next summer. So I just wanted to give you an update on that.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. And Trustee Hattrick.
I'll tell you a little story. My father flew for the RAF in 1918, and he was very reluctant, and he achieved something that I'd love to brag about, but we won't mention. But in any event, he said...
Come on.
To lead on.
No, he wouldn't, so I
All
won't.
right, all right.
But he told me something, and listening to you, I think it could be applied to you. He said the British have great teeth. And I said, Dad, what do you mean by that? He said, well, when they get a hold of your pants, they don't let go, you know? And when Nancy gets a hold of something, she doesn't let go. So good job.
Thank you.
And the only other thing I wanted to say, Wayne, if you could construct us some kind of I'd love to think that you can do it in 4 or 5 pages, but maybe this type of maps of all the access roads, and I can't believe that your sainted secretary made me 10 copies of the Halsey Neck intersection this week, and I left them across the street in my other office. So, but I would love you to just see that and see how much land there is, and there's not water. I mean, there's got to be something you could use. Now, whether you want to use it and how much of it is usable, but Wayne, that's the other intersection that if you, I'll drop off a aerial photo of it, and God knows there is a whole lot of property on the north side of Dune Road, east of Dune Road, and east of Halsey Neck Lane, I'm sorry, and also south of the new bridge on Halsey Neck. There's a lot of sidelines, but you know, it may be in a situation where there's nothing you can do. But if you can do something, I think we ought to at least know it, and then we can wrestle with whether we want to do it, you know. But I'd love to know that I know the facts. Other than that...
But actually, these are Google Earth maps that you have here, and can the surveyor superimpose
it'd be great if he could.
Usually surveyors can do that. They can superimpose on Google Earth maps the survey over it so that you really can get, you know, there has to be stakes there, by the way, or monuments. So I know you're talking about, taking 8 feet from the property to the west. Well, maybe we have more property on the east. We can't take it away from the person unless we own it. And so we're really going to have to be careful with those monuments. But it's a guesstimate, I will say. It gives you a guesstimate of superimposing the survey on Google Earth maps so that we can really get an idea of how much Road A, how much the west side is encroaching and how much the east side is encroaching, and where we really stand on that. I think we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, is presently
It'd be nice
marked.
to be able to have a visual, to be able to look at the thing and say how close to the home are we. I was being kind to the neighbor on the east side of Road A, but as somebody indicated, he may richly undeserve it. You know, he may be encroaching on our property, but in any event.
There are markers on every single road all the way down.
You need to be able to see them, so if you're discussing, hey, we want to widen the thing another 8 feet so that you could have 2 rows in there and still be able to back out and so on, and then, and what you want to do. And the same, Halsey Neck parking lot really does fill up. I don't know if it's just people coming down Halsey Neck, but it must be one of the popular areas. And boy, if we could, it looks to me, if you can use the land that I'm hoping is ours and is usable, that you could add 30 or 40 parking lots possibly, or parking spaces, I should say, not lots. Anyhow, Wayne?
If I may, I think both Steve and Gary, we've been, ever since the Road A issue came up, started looking into the legal status of that, and I believe somewhere there are surveys of all the letter roads that were done a while ago. Technically, if you want to go to a certain point of improvement and the like, I would recommend you revisit with a surveyor, updating that so everything's done exactly. But I think what Bill is asking, both at Halsey Neck intersection and Road A, and perhaps some of the other roads, is given the resources that we have, can we at least see what's out there conceptually and maybe use that to determine whether or not we should pursue a more specific plan, which may cost us money with a design or otherwise. Certainly, I think Halsey Neck, the interesting issue all along Dune Road is of course, on the north side, how close are wetlands and the like, and whether or not we are going to do improvements that may require a permit from the state. So we have to be mindful of that. So, but I think that kind of information, we could go and combine it with some of the information we have physically, and at least try to give the board a conceptual idea of what's out there and what maybe we can pursue at another level.
Just suggest maybe we bring in Nelson and Pope, that they could do that work for us. If we pursue that.
Yeah, I think we could do, at least maybe we could see based on what we have first.
Preliminary
and then
packet, and then we can decide whether we want to.
Nelson and Pope to take it to the next level.
Good.
As far as parking in itself, I think two things. There's, the physical part of parking, but there's also somewhat the legal or demand side of it. One of the questions that is raised by the participants this evening, and you hear it all the time, is who are we providing the parking for? Is it our village residents? Is it town residents? Or are they non-residents? And that goes to how you do your beach parking passes and the like. And so part of that is inventorying and finding out where the demand is and, where are we providing that parking for who?
If we don't
but
need
that's
the
another
parking,
aspect of it.
if we don't need the parking, then we shouldn't pursue it. But if they are filling up, as Cooper's did on Sunday, and when you look at Halsey Neck, that's 150 yards from somebody who wanted to go to Cooper's and could have parked there if parking was allowed there, So I'm thinking along those lines. And of course, people have stickers. Now, the Road A, Gary was quick to inform me that you don't need a sticker. You don't need anything from the village to park there, which is fine. Everything, but no North Korean.
My understanding is that Cooper's, for example, you can get a daily pass. Is that still the case?
Yes,
so anybody, non-resident or whatnot, can get a daily pass. And so you may have, people parking that fill up that parking that's ordinarily available for our residents. And so you may want to revisit the entire policy across all of your beaches and determine how you should regulate those parkings. But our village code does regulate all the letter roads in certain cases. You have to revisit how and where you regulate those in conjunction with whatever parking plan you come up with as well.
Let me just reiterate that, though, Bill. Road A, we don't promote parking in there by any stretch of the imagination. We've allowed generously people to park in there without permit. But that is, all those roads are village property, and it's really up to the village residents to decide how they should be used.
Was I misinformed? I was told that somehow there's a codicil or something with that property that even though it's in our name, town people can park there. You told me that, Gary.
Correct.
And so these are the things I'd like to know, because you hear one side and you don't know if they're right.
The deed to the village was from the town trustees, and there is a condition. It was a quitclaim deed by the trustees with a condition which is questionable in the first instance, but the condition basically said it would be to provide access.
There's
for the
no
residents.
parking mentioned.
It's up to the village to determine how and where that access is.
That's what I want to know, but do we have, what rights do we have? What powers do we have so that they don't come riding in and say we exceeded them?
All the letter roads.
Yeah, but we clearly allow that.
You
It's been
opened it up
paved
and you paved it and you made it accessible, so that was the
So I think the
village's
presumption
choice.
is that every letter road after that is going to be modeled in the same fashion, but you're
Well,
saying
that's your choice.
that's purely up to the village.
It has been.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear.
Can I just ask one thing real quick, just about the parks? And thank you for updating on that. What's the step, and when you were there, the steps, where does that go next? The parks, the Dozier property and Moses, I mean, where does it?
I called over to Mary Wilson to get an appointment with her to go over it with, I want to know whether or not we have to meet with Community Preservation Committee, or do we just have to meet with the town board? Because when those were approved and purchased by Community Preservation, it was for the use of parks, both of them. So it now is, the ball is in the village court to say, okay, so this is what we'd like to do there. Is this okay with you?
Right.
This is our plan, and so that's what we have to do first before we can do anything. Then we're going to look into the next steps after that. Then we're going to take it from there, and then we're going to make a decision on moving forward. And I think we had talked about doing a bond for the whole thing, for both parks together.
Once we have some membership.
Yeah, once we know. I'm not sure, and then we can get some grant money possibly on that as well. So that's what we're looking into.
Well, in there somewhere, is there a public hearing that happens? Do we bring it to the public and show them what we plan on using?
All depends on the numbers and how you want to.
Well, I mean, just the use of it and ideas to date. Does that need a public hearing? Do we bring it to the public and say, this is what we want to do with your land?
You can present it, but
So
it's
it's
not
optional.
absolutely
We're
necessary.
No, we can do, just add a couple of things to what Nancy said. When the CPF funds purchase the property, and sometimes they have limitations on what you can do with the property, so we have to go back to them
Well,
and show them.
that part I understand. I know our requirements and our obligations with the CPF and Mary, well, that, but, I'm just wondering where the public comes into this, because it is for the good of the public. So does this ever get presented? Because so far, we've acquired land and stayed vacant, or, so we're planning on doing some very nice, amazing things with that. So I'm just wondering if the public ever gets asked for input, or they get presented to them,
They
or,
should be asked for input.
does that happen at a CPF meeting? Does that happen here? I mean, where does somewhere?
But I have to say, when we did the other playground, which was a change out of, it wasn't what I would consider a change out of equipment. The equipment was very old there, so we took the equipment out. We planned that whole thing. It was a suggestion that we use the compan equipment because it was superior and because it basically was great for kids in the sense that it used their core muscles, which is something you would want.
No, that was phenomenal, because I remember our neighbor is the one who studies that and does that, so.
Yeah, and so this is more of that. I mean, more compan with some very interesting pieces of equipment that I think will be great for all different age groups. I mean, this time we started even younger. I think we started from, I thought it was 9 months, but it might be 4. Is it 4 months?
Younger.
Well,
Younger. Like a little section for the little ones to 2.
Well,
we don't have that at the other one. Yeah.
Well, the great ideas, and again, the original Agawam Park was an improvement. So it was existing park playground, so we replaced it with immensely improved and phenomenal park equipment. What we have is an open canvas, a couple of pieces of property. So I'm just wondering if
Is
the
there
age groups,
appetite? Right.
do we show the public, hey, this is what we're doing? What do you think? Because I know at the end of the day where we in CPF go into line, because it's a very limited guideline what it can be used for, but we got we got gifts. We got 2 big gifts in the village that we don't.
Great gifts.
As Bill and Horace Bliss has gotten up many times and said, we finally got our share of CPF pie, if you will, and more coming.
Horace will never say we got our share.
Well, sort of in the right direction. You're right.
We got a down payment. By the way, he's right. He's right.
He doesn't look at it as a gift.
But no, it's not. Definitely good points. But here we are. We finally got it. So that's all. I'm just wondering if there's any public input that comes along that way.
But I would agree with what you just said. It's a blank canvas, and of course, hearing 3 tennis courts is very attractive to me. But to your point, what's everybody's appetite for what we're putting forward? And interestingly enough, I just found out that near the Moses property is a town property that's open to the public, and they have It's called Meadow Park, and they have a tennis court and a playground right adjacent to it.
Where is that? I don't know where.
It's a development, but apparently
It's open to the public.
It's open to the public, which I didn't realize. On the other side of our CPF property.
North of the
Yeah,
tracks?
to the north there. I think there's a sign that says,
We never crossed the tracks.
It is a
But
private
it's a-
homeowners association.
So we were told it's open to the public under CPF. Is that incorrect? So maybe that's something we should check,
Yeah, it's every
because
summer.
there's
I
a
remember seeing
playground and
signs there.
a
Yeah,
tennis
but that
court.
belongs to that community. I think it does.
It says town of,
I think it's the community's
Well-
park, but there is one in there.
yes, well, it's worth, if we're
Finding.
duplicating
anywhere.
what's already there around the
Stay
corner.
tuned.
Yeah,
Yes.
but to elaborate a bit on the work that
That's all I can
Nancy's been
say.
doing, and actually Gary's been doing too, is that part of the Dosha property project relates to a lot of stormwater capture, that we're going to run new piping and dry wells down through the park, and that is a big asset to the village and a big asset to the environment. We also looked at today some of the materials that we're going to use possibly under the kids' playgrounds. It has to be a soft material, but this stuff is advancing so quickly. They have a new system of layering gravel for, again, additional drainage use underneath the playgrounds. So on that property, that is a real positive thing for the CPF. On the Moses Lane property, the majority of the property is going to be kept as open space. There will be some plantings, and the trees that are along the edge of the road will remain, and then inside will be pretty much a natural plain with a walking trail through it. A couple of tennis courts, but we don't need to start with those right away. We can build them as we go along. And again, I think that will be a big, big asset to all the surrounding houses in that area. Certainly for them, it's a much better thing than a cluster development or an individual lot development over there. So both those projects are two big projects. And then going forward, Bill, Trustee Allen with the Planning Commission are looking at additional properties in the village of Southampton on what priority they would have for CPF use. And CPF has been a little more lenient in allowing us to use the properties for drainage and some other environmental stuff that is key to the village. So, those are really good things
Right.
going forward.
Yeah, since the state allowed, part of the collection for money of that, so yeah, they're more open to it.
And continuing on that, as usual, the village has some great programs again coming up this weekend and into next week. This weekend, we have Center Stage at Lake Agawam at the park, which is a Broadway melody of songs sung by the Center Stage Theater Group. Something not to miss, and that begins, I believe, at 5 o'clock. And then we have Strides for Life, which is a walk-run down at the Cultural Center on Sunday. And again, great thing to participate. Starts at 7:15 in the morning, the registration, and goes to 8:45. And it's for the benefit of cancer and awareness of lung cancer. And they not only do the walk, 3-mile walk, which everybody can do, because I made it last weekend around the pond pretty quickly in the pouring rain. So I think anybody can do it. So Rich, I'll see you there.
Yeah. Walking, absolutely.
They also are going to have a 50-yard dash for the kids. Great. And then, again, Julie so efficiently has informed me that a couple of the other upcoming highlights is on 8/12, the Cultural Center, well, that's the Broadway show, right? And then SAC has the Arts Center, has a Piano Fest. What a great thing to go to, and that starts Saturday, 8/12, again to 6 p.m. And then also coming up at the Arts Center is Rondana Rossin Concert. That's on the 26th?
Yep, Rhonda Ross.
Rhonda Ross.
It's Diana Ross's daughter.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is very exciting.
That's something to
Diana
go to
Ross's
see.
daughter.
Yeah. And that's on the 26th, and that's 6:30 to 8:30. That's outdoors. Yep. Certainly something to see, and it's a free concert. And then we have, it's on the 26th, which is Saturday. And then SCC, the Cultural Center concerts in the park, continue Wednesday nights. And there's only a couple of weeks left, I guess about 3-4 weeks left, so you got to capture one of those. And then, of course, coming up is Julie's and, of course, Steve's favorite September Southampton Fest. And that's October 13th through 15th. And as I've said so many times, the clam chowder, you can't miss it. And then you got all sorts of events planned, from some music that's going to be out in Village Hall and Main Street, so you're capturing Main Street. And you have everything going down at the park, so you're capturing Jones Lane. And then up at the Southampton Arts Center, there's some stuff going on. There's face painting and all sorts of events. Can't miss that one. You know, it's so impressive that the village does all this for so many people, and you know, so often I'm not there, but it's great stuff. It really is.
The Historic Museum is also having an antique car
That's right.
festival this Saturday.
Yep. And aren't
Yeah,
they
this
having
Saturday.
there's a sale that they have coming up too, I think, some kind of an antique sale or something?
They usually have that on the weekends.
Yeah.
They do it out of the
Yeah.
barn, I think, one of the barns.
Yep.
The old Nugent barn, I think they're doing it out of.
So we
Till they get to
certainly
the
aren't
restoration.
lacking for events by any stretch of the imagination.
And everyone will have an eclipse, the first time in 100 years.
That's right, on the
When is it?
21st.
Before our next meeting.
Yep, 21st.
What time of day?
Is it during the day?
Around
Yes, it's a
2 to
daytime.
3, 2:38.
Yep.
I don't have the exact time, but it's going to be significant.
Cooper's Beach for an eclipse party. And moving along, is there any additional comment from the public? Do we wish to say anything? In that case, a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing legal matters.
Second?
Second.
Favor? Aye.